What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Worshippers of Cthulhu. This is an interesting take on Anno-style strategy and civilization building games, where instead of building up just a colony that's meant to be as profitable and politically influential as possible, in this game you're building a cult that's on like an isolated island and then expanding that cult outwards and murdering your enemies and annihilating them. It's got all kinds of mini games and things that really drive in the theme and the atmosphere of the game to make it distinct from a lot of the other stuff that's out there. So I figured since we haven't covered this game since it was in demo format during like a Steam Next Fest or something like that, I'd go ahead and take a look at it. I'd update some of my impressions. I've played for about an hour prior to the recording of this video, and I've got a map in progress right now that we'll probably end up playing just to avoid the early part of the game where you're mostly just building cabins and the game is sort of indistinct from other colony survival games, and instead launch you straight into the mechanics that actually make the game unique. So if after watching this you did indeed want to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there. There's a bunch of other Nerd Castle links down there in case you wanted to slide through, but let's kick this thing off and get it started, and I'll get you introduced to my colony. So welcome to my sweet-ass Occult Colony. This is the place where I do all kinds of villainous villainy, everything from sacrificing human beings, to carving their flesh, to doing goat sacrifices. All kinds of wild stuff is going on inside this civilization. I'll give you kind of a brief tour, but if you've ever played anything like Anno, this game is going to be very, very similar. And so there's a couple things that you're contending with here. In the sandbox mode, you've got Cthulhus Patience, which is how mad he is at you. It goes down until you complete his next major order that he gives you. We don't have to worry about that for right now. But the point of this game is to generate faith and to generate favor. That's the whole point. Everybody that has a need satisfied in this game generates faith at a decent clip. So down here you can see the basic housing that all of my workers live inside of. They all look sort of emaciated, hungry, and they're wearing all kinds of religious icons. Don't worry about it. It's great for merchandise sales. Okay, we make a killing on these little necklaces. They're one of the few things in the canteen we allow the people to buy in order to sort of express their own individual personality. But if you've ever played Anno, exact same thing here. You have roads. Roads are connected to buildings. Buildings produce things. People live inside of houses and the things that you produce, they raise how happy they are. They need to have those things supplied, otherwise they get cranky. The difference being, in this game, you're feeding them like rotten clam meat, and they need raincoats so that they can stalk around outside knifing people in the dark. They need access to like an occult temple, otherwise they lose connection with our god. And then as a reward for giving these people houses and places to be, they will then work inside of your various facilities. They can have specializations that make them better or worse at working inside of there. And right now I've got logs being produced over here. Logs go over to the lumber mill because obviously you can't have a city building game without producing planks. It is factually impossible, and they are producing planks over here. I've got a corn farm. This corn farm grows corn. Then they bring it over here to the corn cooker, which is on this side, which turns it into a food that can actually be supplied to houses. I've also got a sheep farm up here, which supplies sheep down to the blood drainer, because we need to have access to sheep and goat's blood in order to summon various monsters that we can send in sort of like a cavalcade towards our enemies, which is the phase of the game that I'm in right now. And then also the sheep can be slaughtered and sheared in order to give you wool, which goes inside this building to make the raincoats, which ultimately keep everybody super nice, clean, and happy. On top of that, as you fulfill some of these goals and you take random Frostpunk style events around the map, you will generate a thing called fanaticism. As fanaticism goes up, you get bonuses to the amount of immigrants that you get. And then on top of that, it also gives you just flat increases to the amount of resources you're generating from happy workers and stuff like that, so that you have lots and lots of currency to spend when it comes time to wage war on your neighbors. And neighbors we do indeed have right now. In fact, Cthulhu's current directive is that I need to wipe out this village and murder everybody, otherwise he's going to be super, super cranky with me. So we should probably get on that. I'm going to zoom my map out ever so slightly, and it looks like we have an event that I need to resolve. Amidst a birthday celebration, a family decides to offer a captured homeless soul to the old one in exchange for blessings. The crowd cheers, and a white-robed girl lies spread out on the table, her grin unsettlingly wide as she awaits the gentle touch of the blade. blade. You are called upon to honor the house and conduct the ritual. So I can do it without hesitation and plunge the blade into her chest. That'll give me 5 fanaticism. We can do a speech to our people before we do that, but it has an uncertain outcome. Or we can refuse to kill her and offer her blood from her hand instead, which gives me a free villager, but we lose fanaticism. Let's stay on theme here. Actually, never waste a good opportunity for indoctrination. Let us perform a speech to our glorious people. That way they can be properly motivated to grease the blood wheels of industry. The crowd goes increasingly impatient as you conclude your words. Some among them lick their lips, eagerly anticipating the moment. The white-robed girl on the table writhes in apparent pleasure, her eyes pleading for the dagger's touch. With a swift motion, you drive the blade into her heart. The ritual reaches its zenith, and people sprawl on the ground, crawling towards the spreading pool of blood, consumed by their fervor. In her final moments, her face freezes in a silent scream, immortalized by the sacrificial act. We've gotten 10 Eldritch Favor, which is what you use to conduct research. It's also a resource that you use for building specialized buildings. And then we got 20 Fanaticism instead. That's way better than 5 Fanaticism, so I will 100% take that. So from where I'm sitting right now inside the confines of the game, there's not a whole lot of things for me to do at the moment except for invade the neighboring territory. So I need to check our blood stocks and make sure that we have enough blood to summon an Eldritch monster. We do indeed have enough blood. Just barely. So I'm going to come on inside of here. This game's UI is very much on theme. Like, everything in this game looks like it belongs inside of like an occult game about terrorizing your neighbors. I need to see if I have any workers that aren't assigned to anything right now too, because I need to perform a blood sacrifice in order to get this thing done. And in fact, I think I do have enough people unemployed right now to summon the death monster. So let's go ahead and take a moment, and we are going to summon Yugathar, who's like a giant fish guy. I don't know, he hawks loogies at people and it makes them melt. Kind of like that scene from Mars Attacks where they all just kind of melt into skeletons, kind of like that. Let's go ahead and I will assign a couple of unemployed, unspecialized people to become exalted. It'll take 2,000 bucks, 2,000 Cthulhu bucks for this to happen. I've only got like 5,000 right now. So hopefully this gets the job done, because I'm gonna have to take out like a second mortgage or something like that in order to be able to afford my next blood monster. We also have enough blood to bathe the beast in, so let's go ahead and summon him. You'll see that down here a bunch of little guys are going to come out on the altar. They will spontaneously burst into tentacles, fall into the ocean, and then we will receive our first critter. There he goes right there. The first time you do this, it gives you a cutscene for it, but we're already past that. And here's little Yugathar. Doesn't he look friendly? He looks like a little guy you just want to pet. He doesn't look like he'd hurt anybody, but in fact he will. This guy is pretty catastrophically violent. So let's send him towards the town hall over here on the side. One of the downsides to having a giant monster is that their health continuously ticks downwards. This game does come in the sandbox mode because there's like a narrative mode and there's a sandbox mode. In the sandbox mode, the game comes with all kinds of things that you can just toggle off. You can make it so they don't lose health while they're cruising around. Very, very customizable. You can turn off Cthulhus Patience if you want to. Basically, you can customize it to the level of difficulty and immersion that you feel is right for you. And there's also like dozens of challenges that you can play around with on each of the sandbox maps that like change around what the ultimate goal is, or like how you win the game, or they add extra little twists to your playthrough. Lots of fun little things that they've got inside of there, which I think will definitely increase replayability as the game goes forward into its post-release phase. Let's go ahead and wipe this guy out real quick, and then we will terrorize. As you can see, he's going to fire some Eldritch bolts at their city hall, and down goes the city hall. Can I raise anything else over here?
And seize it for our God. Oh, sweet day of triumph, my high priest.
Okay, so we need to conquer and pillage the inhabitants of the Isle. The settlement is yours. The infidels run frantically, the fires rage, and screams turn the night into the most exquisite of operas. Your followers stand ready, waiting for your words and waiting for your guidance on what to do next. You think for a while, and then you decide. We can cull the unworthy, and then we can take 7 captives. Captives can be useful for various things. We can try to gather as many unfaithful as possible and give up on the fervor. Or we can butcher the entire city, get a ton of fanaticism, and only get 1 captive. I'm going to split the difference. We'll take the middle option right there. And so another island has fallen beneath Cthulhu's Grasp, Black Sand Isle. So it's got a dream spire over here, and it looks like it's got sandstone, iron, and coal, and it looks like it's a great place for growing sheep. It's a good place for getting like some kind of beer, and it looks like we can also grow tomates over here. So, sounds good to me. Let's claim the island.
My high priest, upon subduing our foes, the island unveiled its mysteries. There prominently stands the structure of our god. Yet something else catches my curiosity. What is it, I wonder?
Well, if there's something special about the island, we should obviously investigate. So...
High priest, I counsel the construction of a Reeducator. We must illuminate the minds of the captives we have enslaved. Our cause is just, and they shall willingly embrace the truth once they have seen it.
Okay. First thing I'm going to do, though, before I start re-educating the population, is I kind of just want to cruise around and pick up all the bags of resources that are along the edges of our territory. Only the sea monster can do that. Other than that, I can't really do anything with it. The good news is the Reeducator is actually required for a lot of these houses right here to get their final need taken care of so that they can become like the next tier of villager. And so I'm gonna have to build that either way. So we'll go into our research menu here and we'll take a look. We've got the Reeducator for 15 divine favor. I'll go ahead and take that. We also have a storage office over here that will increase the amount of storage we have by 50 for each of our resources. Might be nice. We can get a sandstone quarry, and it looks like we can get a stonemason as well. So I'll throw that together very, very quickly. But I'm going to need to get up to 1,200 faith per minute in order to get to the next tier. And this goes down pretty far. There's going to be a lot of things for you to work on and kind of engage yourself with while playing through this title.
The expansion of your cult demands additional materials. There is a sandstone deposit on the island. We should exploit it by the hands of your faithful.
So with our new Reeducator, I'm going to need a couple things in order to make it work. I've got to set up sandstone production, but on top of that, I need divine favors. So we're going to need to sacrifice some stuff in order to make this work. This guy right here is your sacrificial altar. This is what you use basically to commune with Cthulhu and all of his minions that live deep down inside the sphincter of the earth. And so I'll begin the ritual real fast. For right now, all we really need to do is donate planks. And so I'm going to add all the planks over here in order for us to create a statue that'll make him happy. I'll also do another one right there, like extra enhancement materials. Can't really sacrifice any followers yet. That would be pretty rad, though. And so we'll just carve the icon real quick. That way we can start getting ourselves a little bit more divine favor so that we can get back on top of building. And now that he has risen, it should auto-resolve the sacrifice. Cthulhu's going to come up and grab all of the stuff that he wants. Or some kind of large tentacle monster under the employ of Cthulhu. I don't know if it comes with a health plan or anything else like that. I've never applied for a job to be an enormous statue-consuming tentacle monster in the service of a Dark Elder god. And so I wouldn't be able to tell you, but we do need the Reeducator now, but unfortunately we're going to have to set that up. So a sandstone quarry is going to have to be dropped over here somewhere. The downside is we don't really have any sandstone on our main island, so we're going to need to start developing this side island over here. I played the game for a while to get like a city set up, and it looks like we're going to have to do the setup either way, as though we were doing kind of like a fresh playthrough with this new island. So let's get all the ruins cleared out of the way, and I'll get started with some roads and things that I can place around. In the meantime, while we wait for this stuff to get done, let's click back over to Dream Shroud, and what I need to do is I need to continue giving ceremonial carvings to my people. And so on this side, you'll see everybody in this game has a specialization. They have jobs that they're good at, and they have jobs that they're bad at. But they can do any job with any specialization. It just kind of like changes their level of efficiency. I've got a bunch of these all-arounders right here, and I would very much like to convert some of the all-arounders into people that can be assigned to jobs that are specifically tailored for what they like to do, because they get to level up when they do that, and it makes them they're less efficient. So all-arounders are more efficient at the beginning, but they can't level up, whereas the people that are specialized to a job, they're less efficient, but as they level up, they ultimately become way more efficient than these guys. So they're kind of like a time investment. What I'll probably do is I'll carve this guy right here, and then what we want to do is we want to look at the book of symbols to figure out things that we're good at. I want to be a lumberjack. Like, I don't have anybody that's good at lumberjacking, and so I'm going to give that a go. The downside here is that this guy is unfortunately going to have to get a tramp stamp, and so, like, I messed up my carving, so I had to swap it around. But either way, this lady is now getting carved on because I need people that are good at lumberjacking. We kind of need it to be, like, down here, so I'm going to, like, run it that way. It's a little curvy at the end. Sorry, I made a mistake. I know that's not something you want your tattoo artist to say, but I screwed up a little bit. All right, it's not going to look great. That looks like sort of occult, but not really. Let's maybe do like another line that runs down to the butt cheek real fast. There we go. That's a little bit more occult looking, and then we'll finish the carving. Hey, and she got lumberjack. That's exactly what I wanted her to get. Cool, she's now specialized in lumberjacking, which means that I can come down to my lumberjack over here, and I can fire one of these mooks, and I can assign somebody that's actually good at lumberjacking to go be a lumberjackinator. On top of that, I think in my corn cooker, I can finally fire some of these people and assign actual designated corn cookers as well. That way we're starting to get like a benefit from them working inside the place that they're supposed to work at. And like every 3 minutes we can do one of those carving rituals. It does raise your fanaticism, so like that'll make you get a lot more immigrants. Like right now I have 11 homeless followers. That's not a super great thing. I need to build more houses and stuff for them, but we'll figure that out a little bit later. For now, I took the time and I cleared out this area, so we kind of need to get started on this side, just sort of like building stuff. We have 11 homeless followers right now, and I think those 11 homeless will actually do a pretty good job if they live over here. So let's go ahead and we'll put in 8 houses real quick to convert them into actual workers that can do appreciable volumes of things that make our society more successful. This is a road-based game because every great cult has a solid appreciation for municipal transit planning. Like, that's one of the core foundational ideals of worshiping a dark elder god, is just an appreciation for road access to roads and the proper flow of traffic. If you don't believe me, look it up. We also need a builder's hut over here in order to get this thing started, so I'll just put that right over there. These little guys will build it automatically. You don't have to actually assign builders. They just kind of spawn out of the ether and make stuff work. And so as you can see, it's going to slowly start converting these homeless into people that actually live inside this area. We'll worry about the transit of bringing things like food and needs over to this place a little bit later. Actually, it looks like it's doing it automatically, so I don't think we even really need to stress it. We should have enough of everything to keep these guys happy, so it should be all right. I don't know if these guys are all going to be generics or if they're going to be actually good at something. Some of these people are like corn planters. A lot of them are all-arounders. Yeah, we got a couple people with specializations, but nothing too wild and crazy. Continue clearing out buildings, and there's going to be another thing we need in order to make people happy over here, and that's going to be the Elder's Temple. So we will slap down an Elder's Temple, probably somewhere like that right there. I'm going to start putting in roads in order to get this thing properly functioning, because I'm going to need a few more houses in order to make it all work, but that'll fulfill their need for an Elder's Temple right here too, which will keep them nice and happy, and it'll make it so that we're generating positive amounts of faith, because you got to spend faith on just about everything in this game. Where is that sandstone mine that the game... There it is right there. Okay, so the sandstone mine is up there. We will definitely want to put a sandstone cutter up and on this side, and it looks like it's actually just got a preordained spot. The downside is I've got to run a road up here, otherwise it'll never get built. And so let me do that very quickly, and it looks like that actually fits just fine right there. That works for me. Good stuff. So my second island is now developing, and it looks like the stockpiles are just shared between everyone that utilizes them. They said they got a sheep farmer over here. What did they say that they got over here? So we've got a milkery, It looks like we've also got, yeah, we've got a sheep farmer over here. Let's plop down a sheep farm. Why not? I need more sheep anyways, so we'll put a sheep farm right at the center of town. Nothing says successful city planning like having a sheepfold right next to the town square, but you know what? We're doing what we can with what we have right now. We'll put an all-arounder and a sheep farmer on the sheep farm. That way I'm now producing more sheep because I've been low on sheep this entire time. Both my blood farm and also my coat maker, they need more sheep. Like, I feel like I'm constantly out of sheep. And so we'll just have them start doing that right there. On this side, we need to assemble a whole bunch of stonemasons, but I don't have anybody that's actually good at stonemasonry yet. So I'll just throw a bunch of all-arounders in there until we get something else that makes us a little bit more successful. What else does it want me to do? It wants me to build a Reeducator. I think a great spot for a Reeducator will probably be over here because all these things need a Reeducator anyways in order to be happy. We're going to have to wait a little while for that sandstone to come in, I think. I don't know when the first batch of sandstone is going to come through, but Reeducator, we definitely want that. We're also going to have to cut this sandstone, so unfortunately, I'm going to need to do something. Luckily, it tells me how far my temple's influence stretches. And so let me put in like 4 more, we'll put in 6, why not? Let's put in 6 houses over here. That way we're a little future-proof for future waves of immigration. And as soon as that's done, yeah, we just got 7 more followers, so like we kind of need to take care of it anyways. It's one of those things that needs to be banged out, and it looks like the transit system will get us there anyways. So that'll be good, and then the final thing that I need is a stonemason to actually cut that stone into something appreciable and tangibly valuable. So we'll put the stone cutter right there. These people are going to have to just deal with the clinking of hammers late into the night. 4 people can work over here at the stonemasons. Okay, I'm going to use my all-arounders for right now, even though I'm not really getting much benefit out of that. They'll start cutting the stone, and then what I needed to do is I need to fire this all-arounder over here and put in another sheep farmer right there so that we're at maximum strength sheep farming efficiency. I don't know if I have another sheep farmer over here. Oh, these are all properly assigned, and they're like level 10, so they're kind of like killing it right now at sheep farming. Fair enough. Your men have noticed numerous hostile ships nearby. That's unfortunate. I wish that there were not hostile ships nearby. Your cultist, alerted by the family, find the resident in the basement. His frail limbs are practically disappearing under the pressure of the abundant seafood emerging from his body. The man is alive and whispering softly, gifts from the father Dagon. So we can increase the production of our clam collectors. I don't think I really need to do that. I don't know, my clam collectors seem to be doing okay right now. We'll just take the middle line option right there, because we've got plenty of clams to begin with, so I don't think it's going to be that large or that difficult. Where are they?
We should contemplate assaulting ships passing nearby. They may yield captives and resources vital to our cause.
Okay, I don't really see any ships on the minimap right now, but if they show up, I will summon another writhing horror from the depths to drag them down to their deaths. Does that make you feel better? Are you cool with that? All right, fantastic. So we're producing blocks now. We've only got like 1 of them, so I'll come back once we have enough for our re-education camp. Oh, there's our little hostile enemies. Yeah, we may want to get on top of that. They're looking a little bit buck right now, so we might want to handle that. I need to sacrifice some people. Luckily, I have like 1 billion unemployed, so like, who cares? We'll go ahead and sacrifice those 2, and I will summon... It only takes 1 to summon Yugathar. Is Yugathar good? Let's summon Yugathar. I've never summoned him before. I've got to sacrifice captives, so like, and he costs a lot more money, so maybe Yugathar is dope. Like, maybe Yugathar has what it takes to throw down. I summon the Yugathar! Oh yeah, Yugathar, I like him. Okay. Yugathar's my homie. I like this guy. He's got kind of like a Starship Troopers thing going on that I fully support. Alright, Yugathar. It's time to Yugathump some ships. Get on over here. Oh, there's a big one right there. Alright, Yugathar. Get that one. Murder it. Nyah! Yes, vanquish them to the deeps. Perfect. Yugathar was successful in his conquest of the fleet. Ooh, we got free coats and jackets, too. That's nice. Keep everybody warm. See, he looks like he's hostile and evil, but he brings you warmth in the winter tides. He allows you to coat your body with apparel that is good for the environment that we currently live inside of. See, he's a provider, dude. He's not a bad person. He just likes to help. He's like a little buddy over here. We got another ship over on this side. I really don't love the fact that they're just cruising around my territory with impunity. I strongly dislike that. And so while Yugathar still has breath inside of him, let us yug to the north. Yuginate these fools. Get them. Turn them into yug lunch. Yeah, there you go. Ow, they shot me with cannons, dude. What kind of dick shoots an adorable little isopod on the sea with cannons? What a D-bag. Either way, we've now got access to defensive towers, which I've got a sneaking suspicion we're probably going to need going forward. How hard is it for me to make like a defensive tower, or to just unlock it down here inside my... It unlocked it inside my technology tree, so that answers that question. Yeah, let's get a defensive tower real quick, just in case we need to protect ourselves from anything that tries to, like, land ashore here. They're kind of expensive. That's the only downside. So I probably won't be able to deploy too many of them for right now. But let's also run a road down this way so that it's connected to the building area. And then we'll just have kind of like a seaside front over here. It's not connected to the main storage. It looks pretty connected to me. There we go. Now he's connected. It's a little bit ugly, but it got the job done. How we looking on those sandstone bricks? We got enough of those to make stuff happen? Yugathar, go murder that dude. It looks like he's got like a cargo hold full of shingles or something. We might need him. Perfect. He's now been destroyed, and with your last life's breath, go ahead and murder the sampan. There's far, far too much red on my map right now, and I hate it. Just grab that last little piece of goodness right there, and you're probably going to die going up against this guy. See, and now what really irritates me is that this guy gets to brag about how in a sloop he killed a giant sea monster. He didn't even do like 99% of the work, but I bet you when he gets back to town, he's like, yeah, you know, Eldritch God's being tried to rock up on me. He ain't got shit on me though, bro. I've been hitting that weight bench. I showed him. I've been taking Muay Thai. I know what I'm doing. I put him in a little bit of jujitsu headlock, dove into the water, choked him out, brought back some of his part. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. He was already severely weakened, sir. You should not be allowed to take credit for that. That should be off limits. We've got one extra over here. How many people? I've got like worshippers and stuff. Let's just assign these people to worship at the altar real fast. And that increased the range. So actually, technically, I don't need to maintain this guy anymore. So I'm just going to like bulldozinate him. I built him during a time of desperation where I didn't know that I was going to need him. And then what we'll do is, where's my re-education camp? Let us deploy... I need favor from the gods first. Elder God, here's a whole bunch of wood. Munch on it and give me your favor. Does my attitude when I sacrifice things affect how much he gives me? Cthulhu has feasted. We are good to go. So re-education camp. I will put you... I mean, you're not hitting everybody from right there. I would prefer it that you supply favor to like every single one of my huts, my shanties. And so what I will do now is I will bulldoze both of those shanties, and I shall put you right there, because I should be able to rebuild a couple of garbage doo-doo shanties over here anyways, just to sort of make this all work. Re-education camp is now officially done, so we will start educating our captives. Yeah, just educate like 4 of them, I guess. I don't really need that much population over here, I don't think. Okay, I will do that random cloaked man who is addressing me. I like to take sort of like an improv comedy approach to guys in robes approaching me and asking for boons. As long as the robe doesn't open after they ask, I think we're in good shape. Like, if I was on a hike and a random guy in a robe with a giant medallion around his neck just came out of the woods and was like, you must investigate the cairn. Like, I'd probably be like, yeah, sure, why not, dude? I ain't got a whole lot to lose. Life's kind of boring. Yeah, I'll go touch the cairn. Why not? Maybe it'll turn out good and I'll end up with, like, superpowers or something. Maybe I'll end up a main character instead of doing, like, this whole, like, side NPC thing I've been doing my entire life. That hasn't worked out altogether that great, so, like, why not? Take a chance on it. The good news is building a new sheep farm actually has us hoarding sheep right now. We are absolutely swimming in wool, so that should be really, really useful. Jackets seem to be struggling a little bit, so it may not be a bad idea to make another guy that makes jackets, but then again, I'm pretty sure... Did I accidentally bulldoze the shack that makes jackets? Like the shacket? I think I might have. I may have bulldozed it while I was trying to move things around. It's entirely possible. That might be why we're stacking up sheep to such a ludicrous level. Let me fix that little misstep and just sort of make this thing happen. Sure, put the jacket maker over there, and then I'll get some people employed. In fact, I need to carve flesh so that people become better at making jackets. I don't think I have any jacket makers right now, so we'll take one of these, like, unemployed guys. This is the wrong person that I'm carving on, by the way. It was select... For some reason, whenever I go to carve, it draws from the island that's way off to the left instead of the island that the actual carving station is on top of. Upsetting. I don't know what I need over on that other island. I think I need people that are good at sandstone quarrying. And so it looks like we've got to do like a really, really big tattoo on this one. All right, so let's take her around the horn over here. Yup, that's a good cut right there. We'll get like one of those right there. We'll get another one right there. We're going to have this run downwards. It's going to catch the curve of her lady flank. It's going to come down this way. Oh, no. Okay, this is the worst tattoo that I've ever tattooed in the history of tattooing and also life. I'm doing my best, all right? This isn't exactly something they teach you during your gen ed in college. Okay, it looks nothing like what I wanted it to look like. It kind of looks like a boot. Let's make it a boot with like a little Judd Nelson bandana around it. That way we're like invoking the Breakfast Club over here. There we go. Now it's got like a little bandana going around, and we'll kind of have it like, you know, we'll give it a little bit of texture here. Hold still! God, you make this so much more difficult than it needs to be. What with all the screaming and the lamentation? Like, I'm trying to make you into a better version of yourself. Okay? That's all that I'm trying to do. And so now it's like a little boot. We gotta have the cuff up here. So let's give it the little boot cuff right there. And then maybe we'll give it like a little toe cap too. Why not? We'll make it a steel toe. Now it just looks kind of like a Christmas stocking of gore. Well, finish the carving. Sandstone quarry, it worked! Yay! If you make a Santa stocking, it'll work out. Unfortunately, she's on the wrong island right now, and I don't know how to relocate her to Blackened Isle. Oh no, she's on the right one. I think we're good here. I'm gonna fire one person and just reassign people that are actually good at quarrying so they can start leveling up their quarrying and get that going. And then I suppose we can investigate this thing. What is it?
What dread is unfolding? Have we been forsaken?
Our master's patience wins. Heed my commands, lest you wish to forfeit your puny minds.
Okay. That seems a little harsh, but I guess I'll give it a go. And we now have Cthulhus Patience.
You were granted gifts and power, yet you hesitate, and our Lord's patience reigns. Obey my commands, and perhaps you shall survive. To inspire is essential for awakening our God, and your cult's inadequacy keeps its doors shut. Amass more followers, pump, and feed, and you might yet see it open.
Okay. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm probably going to slow the game down right now is what I've been playing on like maximum speed, but now that Cthulhu's Patience is here like it is in the sandbox mode, I should probably carefully think out the things that I want to do. So for Black Sand Isle, it looks like they can make corn liquor over here. So that's good. Corn ale sounds like the worst thing on earth. I'm going to be honest with you. It does not sound good in the slightest. I prefer my ale the old-fashioned way, but we'll get it started over here. I don't know how many villagers I have available on this side. So I have 3 unemployeds right now. The game does furnish you with a very nice selection of menus that help you figure out your inputs, your outputs, and whether or not everything's working okay. We have 10 people ready to join. I'm just going to put another little subdivision back here. There we go. Perfect. You think there's any government subsidies for, like, developing land like this for the specific use of religions? Like, I feel like we're not doing this the proper way. Are we tax exempt? Like, maybe it's just me being an older guy, but, like, we're running a religion right now. We're kind of doing our thing. I feel like it'd be a really, really good idea to apply for tax exemption status. I'm just saying that I'm not trying to cut the IRS a check for all of these riches and corn liquor monies that I'm trying to make out here, okay? Corn plantation, does it matter where it goes? I don't think it matters where it goes. I want to keep it away from the area that I'm going to be developing for human beings to live inside of. So I'll just put it right here. It'll be a lonely little corn plantation on this side. We're going to have to put fields out there in just a minute. And then, I don't think that I've actually unlocked corn liquor yet. Yeah, I don't have the liquory yet. And so let us go and establish a liquory. For corn ale production, we'll probably just keep this nice and close right there. You can rotate buildings, but I'm being super lazy right now because most of the designs are kind of like positionally ambiguous anyways. The buildings, you can see right here, like they go in sort of like cockeyed and cattywampus and like off to the side, you know what I mean? Like if we're gonna get our corn liquor production up, it don't really matter if the building's out here side goggling, okay? It don't matter none. Don't worry about it. I do need to place the fields for this right here. I can have 50. All right, let's just go out by 5, and then we'll just cut it this way because it's going to drive me up a wall. Can I get it like that? Oh, I hate it. Let's just do that. That's fine by me. We'll just do the 48 because I need it to be square, all right? My OCD will not allow it to not be a square. It needs to be a square that lines up with my roads, otherwise it makes me deeply upset. Just because we worship the dark gods doesn't mean we don't have standards.
Minds can be roused, attaining in an instant what years of repetition and toil may otherwise demand. This knowledge, drawn from the abyss, will tear you apart and rebuild you to fulfill your purpose. Erect the altar, mortal. Embrace your incoming hosts.
And so now, I would guess, would be the time when we're going to upgrade to level 2, because none of my workers can actually work at the corn liquor plant. I didn't know this. You need to be specialized in dark eldritch studies. You need to at least have a bachelor's of science in eldritch studies before you can make corn liquor. All those guys down south out in the Appalachian Hills that have been doing it for 200 years, they're doing it wrong. They didn't go to Eldritch College, okay? You got to go to Eldritch College to do it right. We are about to achieve levels of alcoholism and general depravity that the world has never seen before. But all in all, I think this is a really good game. I don't really have that many complaints about it. Most of my complaints about the game come from like the UI auto-selecting like the wrong island when I'm assigning workers to do stuff and things like that, but it's kind of like a minor annoyance. The game gives you a wide array of stat sheets and ways to figure out whether or not, oh, we're running out of robe because I forgot to put robers down here. All right, there we go. You have robers. Robe. I also need to convert. I'm going to carve another person real fast. But as I'm carving a person, I do actually need to do one of these too. Most of the little things that have been like a minor annoyance, but nothing that would make me stop playing the game, are just like the game selecting seemingly a random island whenever I interact with certain menus and stuff like that, but it does give you a large array of random stat sheets that help you figure out Whether or not you are producing things efficiently, whether or not you're running out of things, what things you have available versus what things are coming in versus going out, makes it pretty effortless. The game is not a logistics game. It's designed for the feels and for the atmosphere and sort of for the RTS base defense kind of monsters eating ships gameplay. And this right here is made well, but it doesn't really stick you on the details from what I've seen so far. Really, this whole section is designed to get you into it and like building your city so that you can get to the fun stuff, which is like raiding and pillaging ships and carving in people's flesh and doing all that kind of fun stuff. So far, I think Worshippers of Cthulhu is actually a rock-solid addition to a genre that, to me, in my opinion, tends to too faithfully keep itself moored to like the things that Anno does. Like I really, really like the fact that they kind of just like put the basic Anno gameplay in there, and then they sort of spent all their time answering the question, wouldn't it be cool if we did this or if we did that, you know? And I find that to be enjoyable so far. This is definitely one of those games that I could see myself dumping a couple hours on into. And so anyways, my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with Worshippers of Cthulhu. Tomorrow we'll be doing something else. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll catch y'all later.